Hey, seventh graders. Here we go again. This week's going to be a little different. It'll be similar, but first is I kind of want to recap what we went over last week. If you remember last week, we started off talking about what carrying capacity is, looking at producers, consumers, and then carrying capacity. And we left off talking about the carrying capacity of planet Earth. And I had an Ed puzzle made that you guys watch. Remember, you have to watch Ed puzzles. It's part of your grade. So you have to watch and do the questions. Otherwise, when I look in there, it says 0%. 100% is what you want because then you did it. So in this Ed puzzle today we're going to talk a little different than what carrying capacity is. So when we look at our world, what we live in compared to other people in the world, it looks different. It definitely looks different in rural areas compared to big cities, or if you go East Coast, West Coast, because there's a lot more people. Now, every country is different with different demands that they have on pollution, reducing or reusing stuff, all of that. Some are more wasteful than others. So leaving off carrying capacity is right now we are at about 7.6 billion people on the planet. Well, what we're going to look at today is what is our ecological footprint. Meaning, if everyone lived like me on the planet, what does it end up looking like? Meaning, how far do I travel to get groceries? How often do I eat processed food compared to like going to the butcher shop or butchering my own cow and taking that meat and things like that. So the other thing it has to deal with is how far you're driving every day, because those are fossil fuels, and fossil fuels then put emissions into the air, and that's where we get some pollution. Now, as the world has definitely changed, so does how we operate in it. So again, looking at ecological footprint is everything that has to do with the way you live. Everything from the size house you live in, the kind of vehicles you drive, miles per hour, things like that. Now, you guys can't drive, so this is going to be a little different. What we're going to do is you're actually going to take a quiz, and you are going to figure out if everyone on the planet lived like you, all 7.6 billion people, how many planet Earths would we need to sustain your type of living? And why are we doing this? Well, this is usually a very important week when I have science. Is Earth Day is on Wednesday. And of course, Earth Day, the simple things that we can do to make our planet better, to hopefully prolong the life of the planet and the resources that we use. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to take you over to the website here and look at it. So let's go up here. This is the website you're going to go to. It says, what is your ecological footprint? Now, some of these questions are going to be hard for you to answer because it's going to be asked like, how many miles per gallon is your vehicle? Well, if you don't drive, then you don't have to worry about it. And right now, your answers are going to look a lot different in quarantine life and not driving to school or coming to school every day than it would on a normal day. So we'll pretend it's a normal school day that you were coming when you're answering questions. So you're going to go take the first step and then email, just log in here. I'm going to just use my school website, and there we go. Now, right away, here are the questions that it's going to ask, and I kind of want to step you through some of these. So how often do you eat animal-based products? So you can see under here it says beef, pork, chicken, fish, eggs, and dairy product. Now, if you go here to add details, it really breaks it down. For example, my father-in-law has beef. Poultry would be never, but beef would be every single day, and eggs and cheese. So you can get much more detailed in of where you think you're at. So if you're like, yeah, I eat beef every day, pork, no, I never have that. Poultry, yeah, sometimes fish, yeah, here and there, eggs and cheese, yeah, every day. Now, once you do that, you're going to click Save. If you look at this, you can see if I crank all these up, it'll definitely change. Okay, so you have to pick here. So if you pick here, you also had to add details. So for example, let's say meat. Yeah, very often. And then I can go through and change these to wherever I need them. Okay. Now, as you do that, how do you move to the next page? Is there's going to be this arrow right here, which I always think it's hard to see at first. I didn't even see it there. I can't forgot. So how much food that you eat is unprocessed, unpackaged, or locally grown. So that means it's less than 300 or 200 miles away, meaning like some of you eat canned goods that you make from your garden, or are you eating bags of Doritos? Unprocessed is anything that is made by you or you're buying from like a farmer's market. Other stuff, so let's say, and these are rough estimates. You don't have to be like, well, I don't know if it's 51 or 52. Be rough. Let's say for me it says 60%. And then unpackaged. Now, locally grown, you can pick that. Is fresh, unpackaged foods. So, your fruits, veggies, things like that, fresh fruits. So let's say. Okay. Which housing best describes your home? Now, everyone's going to be a little different here. No one's in a luxury condominium, so don't worry about that. Duplex, that'd be 2 or 4 housing units together. Multi-story apartment, and then majority of people are going to be a freestanding running with water, unless hopefully everyone has running water. Now, what material is your house? Well, it depends on what you have here. I mean, you have wood beams, and that's going to be what your walls are made of. But some people are in like brick or concrete, and that's fine. Okay, and then you're just going to go through this. Now, how many people live in your household? Okay, 1, just you, counting everyone. Now, it's not just siblings. Now, this is the majority of your time. So if you're in between split families, things like that, a little different, but just pick where you are at the majority of the time. So, for example, in my household, we have 4. Okay, it's me, my wife Jessica, my 2 sons Zeke and Andrew. And then what size is your home? You can figure that out. I mean, 15,000 square feet is a huge house. I live in about a 23 or 2,200 square foot house. Okay, and everyone's going to be different. Now, do you have electricity? Is energy efficient? Appliances? Do you have solar panels? Things like that. Modern appliances, climate control things. So newer houses probably do. How about this? Anyone have a windmill or geothermal or solar panels? Like me? Nada. Compared to your neighbors, how much trash? I'd say about the same. I don't think I'd say same or even a little less. And you can see here, you can add more here. And you can definitely look at that. And if you have time, go through all that, because I do these quite a bit here that I'm increasing, as you can see. So as I go through, how far do you travel by car or motorcycle a week? I don't drive a motorcycle, so car, average week, I don't know. I never drive anywhere, even if this was a normal school week, next to nothing, because I walk cross street to school to work. Let's see here. Fuel car, you can see 30 miles a gallon. I mean, ours are probably there. This one isn't. This one. When you travel by car, how often do you carpool? Carpool means it's more than one person. So for myself, I hardly ever drive by myself. I'm always with my family. I would say 90% of the time. And how far do you travel on public transportation? Me, none. Now, you would be different if you were riding the bus to come to school every day. That would be different. How many hours do you fly each year? I'm like, not very many. Everyone's different, of course. So here we go. Here are my results. So basically, if everyone on our planet lived exactly like me, we'd need 3 Earths. 3 Earths to sustain my living. Okay, not all 7.6 billion people live like me, though. So you can see here, this is overshoot day. And this is kind of neat. And what it is meaning, you know, on the entire year in 2018, Earth would overshot day, humanity, August 1st. Okay. So if everyone lived like you, need this. And if you click, how do you compare to the average number of Earths? Well, yeah, we're one of the highest. Just because a couple of different reasons, because geologically we're larger, and we do have people, but we have people in cities that are much more probably wasteful than rural people. So you can click here and see details, and this is going to really break it down. Like, for example, my consumption category, meaning food, you can see is going to take a lot of energy for me to function. Looking at this, these are my ecological footprints. So it takes 5.1 hectaacres of land for me to sustain my life. That's what it takes for me to survive a year. My carbon footprint, these are CO2 emissions from driving, all that. And here's my carbon footprint overall percent. So you can see here, you can explore solutions. And what it'll do is it'll give you a better understanding of what's going on in the city, what can you do in the energy, population, food, all of that, planet itself. And if you click learn more, it's going to take you to another website where you can learn a little bit more. Now, what this is going to do is, now that you're done watching this and you have an idea of how to answer the questions on the quiz. Now, yours is different than me, okay? You may have more, you may have less. And if you have less, good work. So ultimately, I want to see how many Earths we take. And maybe it puts in perspective as our population, as we saw and we know, is going to keep growing. You know, at 7.6 billion people, soon it's going to be 8, soon it'll be 9, soon it'll be 10, so on and so forth. When I first started teaching, the world population was 6.1 billion. And now we're 1.6 billion larger, and I've been teaching 13 years. So if you start thinking about that, let's say it's like every 13 years you get almost 1.5 billion roughly. Yeah, I mean, the time you're older and your kids, and suddenly we have 10, 11 billion people on the planet, it takes more energy. Therefore, our ecological footprint almost becomes more, but we only have one Earth. And always remember that. So, for your assignment today, you are just finishing watching this video. Next are some questions about what you got, okay? And just diving a little deeper into the data that you ended up getting, okay? Other than that, everyone have a great start to the week, and we will talk to you on Wednesday. All right. We'll see ya.